Every now and then I'll read a synopsis for a film and just completely fall in love with it and feel like the film has been written for me personally. Obviously that's not the case, considering this film was released the year I was born. But as soon as I heard about Forever Young, the 1992 film, I just thought that is right up my street. And once I watched it, I kind of thought, right, I really want to talk about this because I need to share this film, and also I just need to kind of purge my system of the overexcitedness that I feel about this film. So if you haven't seen this film, I will do a brief spoiler-free overview of the plot, discuss the cast and the characters, and how I found the narrative. So to give you a brief overview, I will read the description on IMDb and then discuss whether or not I feel that that is an accurate portrayal of what the film actually is. So it says here that during a cryogenics test, a pilot frozen in 1939 awakens in 1992, but time is running out as his body starts to age rapidly. Now I will say that his body doesn't start to age rapidly until about 2/3 of the way, but he's a pilot, he's a tester pilot, and he is cryogenically frozen in 1939, just before the war starts. And he is supposed to be woken up a year or so later, but one thing leads to another. We find out eventually why. I won't spoil it, no spoilers in this at all. He wakes up in 1992, much later than intended, and of course that's a panic, because originally he was cryogenically frozen because something tragic happens at the beginning and he just can't deal with it. But now he's woken up and he desperately wants to try and find his friend who cryogenically froze him in the first place, to work out what went wrong, why he was still asleep, and how he gets back. Because if you wake up 50 years later and you're still the same age you were 50 years ago, it's going to be quite terrifying. So a lot of the film is he wakes up, he enlists the help of this family. I will talk about those characters in a moment. And he has to try and find his old friend from 50 years ago and try and work out what's going on and how to get back. And that is amazing. I love films that are set, let's say, like Back to the Future, where characters get to go forward in time and see things from a different perspective, like we had with the almanac in Back to the Future. And it's not overly done. There's not like a lot of interaction with modern day objects. There's a television and things, and it's done a little bit. So Daniel, the man who's frozen, isn't completely clueless about this world around him, but he sees like a McDonald's and things, and it's like, what's going on. So it could have been done more. That's one thing I will say. I wish he had a bit more interaction with the 90s and kind of things that had changed over the decades. But it's not a complete absence. I've also forgot to mention who directed this. It's directed by Steve Miner and written by J.J. Abrams, who is obviously a fantastic storyteller. So the narrative, I really like. It's right up my street. It's everything I look for in a film, and I honestly couldn't have asked for more, apart from maybe a bit more interaction with the 90s. Emotionally, it can hit you hard. It's a little bit funny, mainly because of the two young characters, and again, I'll mention those in a minute. But the progression is great. I will say the ending, no spoilers, but the ending I felt was rushed. I kind of understand why they ended it when they did, because it was a beautiful ending, like it was powerful. But I was left feeling like I didn't know what had happened to certain other characters, and I really wanted to know. So I guess I'm just left to my own devices to think about that. On the note of the characters, we have a brilliant cast and some great characters. So Captain Daniel McCormick is played by Mel Gibson, and his performance is brilliant. There's no fault in it, rarely is with Gibson. And he finds himself being assisted by the Cooper family, and Claire, the mother, is played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's brilliant in it. Claire's interaction with Daniel is really good. It's not as predictable as I thought it would be either, so that was enjoyable to watch. But for me, what made this absolutely just so adorable is little Elijah Wood, who plays Nat Cooper, who is Claire's son, and one of the original people who found the cryogenic chamber. And he's adorable in this. He's so cute. He's really relatable and likable, and I like the way he interacts with Daniel. That's particularly sweet. And he has a friend called Felix, and just together they have a great on-screen chemistry. The friends work really well together. Personally, and the reason that I actually watched this is George Wendt's in this, or Wendt, depending on how we're pronouncing his surname, and as a recent Cheers TV show addict, Norm, that's the reason why I wanted to watch this. I wanted to see him in more things, and he wasn't in it as much as I'd as much as I'd have liked him to be in it, but when he was in it, I was very happy. So this film basically ticks all of the boxes. Great plot, very good narrative development, the characters are really likable, the cast fantastic, great performances all around. As I said, the contrast between 39 and 92 were not as strong as I would have liked, but it didn't detract from the quality of the narrative. As I said as well, the ending wasn't perfect, but it was still pretty good. And once I finished watching this film, I thought I really, really want to talk about this. So if you've seen it, please do let me know what you think of it, because I thought it was truly fantastic. Let me know if you've seen it, and if you know of any other films that are like this as well, please do feel free to let me know, because I would love to see them.